This video is brought to you by
Cool Green Clothing. We done gone worldwide and we coming straight out of Baltimore. And if you're in town, pull up on us at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you're not in town, go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. It's free. It helps get the video out there. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For my day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. With that being said, let's get right into the story. Most inner cities in America are filled with everyday people just trying to survive. A lot of working class men and women trying to raise their families and trying to live a safe and productive life. But unfortunately, in America, inner cities also have an underworld. Whether it's due to poverty, people not having a lot of opportunities, lack of resources, or just a way of life. For some individuals, all they know is what they see at home and what goes on in their community. Perfect example, you can have two friends growing up on the same block in the same neighborhood. One of them, mother and father, are both at home. They go to work every day. They make sure they keep him busy so he won't be too exposed to the things that happen in the area. While he definitely could still take the wrong path, his support system is set up for him to succeed. On the other hand, his homie might got a mother that's getting high, his father in prison, he got siblings he got to help look after, and he leans more towards the streets and the environment for support. For a lot of inner city youth, they can't help where they are born at, what they see coming up, and what they have to adapt to. If all you see around your way is hustlers and you don't have any guidance at home, more than likely you will start hustling yourself. Same if you grew up around shooters. And a sad reality in every city I ever lived in is the mindset of picking up a gun to solve a problem is embedded in the culture of all of them. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing the case of an ambush on a Baltimore block that shocked the whole community. Back in 2018, 22-year-old Sadiq Griffin, nicknamed Deke by family and friends, was a young man navigating life in Baltimore. The young man grew up playing sports, had a strong family support system, and he was described as fun-loving with an excitement for life. He loved teaching himself and learning new things. A hip-hop head, his favorite rapper was Lil Boosie, who he listened to on a daily basis. Close with his family, especially his mother, Sadiq, like many of us when we were that age, was just trying to figure out life and the best way to move out here. He was living in Northeast Baltimore at the time, in the Bel Air Road part of the city, close to Emily Avenue. Another young man stayed in the same area. He was 23-year-old Gilbert Gardner. Gilbert also grew up playing sports, had a decent upbringing, but like many of us, when you are young and impressionable, he got caught up in the streets at a young age. He would find himself in some serious trouble, but fortunately, he was able to get out that jam and was given a second chance. But in the area, it was smoke in the air between the two young men. For whatever reasons, they didn't see eye to eye, and a few words were exchanged. Both living in the same area, just blocks away from each other, they knew a lot of the same people, and everybody knew the two men really wasn't feeling each other. On a cold winter day, February 13th, 2018, Gilbert was out riding. He was sliding through the neighborhood with another young man, who we will call Ghost for the sake of the story. They pulled up to a house on Chesterfield Avenue when Gilbert hopped out the driver's seat of the car to greet another man. As the two chopped it up, he allegedly got a phone call that Sadiq was outside in the 3800 block of Emily Avenue. He jumped back in the whip and sped off. As Sadiq was bopping by a nearby store, a shooter popped out the cut and multiple shots went off. Then they took off through the alleyway on feet. Witnesses and neighbors called BPD, who responded to the scene to find Sadiq suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to a local hospital, but unfortunately, he wouldn't survive his injuries. The homicide shocked the community. With a lot of working class people, homeowners in the area, it wasn't always quiet and things happened around there as it was still Baltimore, but at that time, the city was doing good with a 12-day streak of no homicides. But unfortunately, the shooting would break that. Neighbors who were in their home at the time told police what they saw. One woman stated she was doing dishes in her kitchen when she claimed to see a car pull up in the alley. A man get out, walk through the cut. Seconds later, over 5 shots went off. She saw the shooter run back to the car and the driver opened the passenger side door. Then they sped off. After that, she ran and opened her front door and saw a young man laying in the street. Another neighbor had cameras on his home and caught the whole situation. He willingly gave the footage to police. But the big piece to the case was a man who claimed he saw the getaway car on his block on Chesterfield just a few minutes earlier, and the driver was talking to one of his neighbors, who we will call D, before driving off fast. Then 3 minutes later, he claimed shots went off in the area. Police brought D in for questioning. At first, he denied speaking to anybody, but then he broke down and told police his homie Gil pulled up on him. He stated he then got a call Deke was outside, then Gil left. When asked who Gil was, he stated Gilbert. Police already familiar with the young man got a search warrant for his home, located in the 3700 block of Lindale Avenue. Inside, they found 5 handguns and drugs, and Gilbert was taken into custody. At first, only charged with that, until homicide detectives pieced together the video footage from that area the day of the hit. They were able to identify Gilbert as the driver, but not the shooter. They pressed the young man about the evidence they had on him, but he refused to talk and name his passenger, who was the alleged trigger man. But with that, he was hit with first-degree hit and conspiracy to commit a hit, along with the other charges he was already facing. As the case made its way to trial, prosecutors stated even though they knew Gilbert wasn't the shooter, they knew for a fact he was the driver, and they felt he should be held just as responsible. It was multiple witnesses from the neighborhood that took the stand and stated what they witnessed that day. Also, D, Gilbert's homie, came to court to testify. He stated Gil pulled up on him. When he was asked if he saw who he was talking about in the courtroom and was he the driver of the getaway car, he hesitated before stating yes and pointing to Gilbert. With all that, it was nothing his attorney could do. He was found guilty on all charges. It's not clear how much time he received, but he is currently serving his sentence up WCI. He appealed his conviction, stating it was all hearsay and he wasn't the shooter. But under Maryland law, if you are a participant in any way to a crime, even though you're not the shooter, you can be held just as responsible. So he lost the appeal and is now still currently serving his time in state custody. Rest in peace to Sadiq. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. I'm not sure why the two young men were beefing, but I do know it doesn't take much at that age with ego to make an enemy, and they only lived a few blocks away from each other. Unfortunately, the sad cycle in most inner cities, you try me, or if I don't like you, it's no talking, guns coming out, leaving the youth gone before they get a chance to live. At 22 years old, you are still trying to see what direction you are going out here, and to lose your life over something 9 times out of 10 wasn't worth it is terrible. And another young man sitting in a cell. They keep getting us in the same trap. They call it 2 for 1. 2 lives gone in the same situation. One to the graveyard and another to the cell. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. Leave it in the comments. Yeah, man, crazy story. Rest in peace, that young man. I definitely send my prayers to his family. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all tap that like button if you feeling the content. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.